call. You may have noticed that we don't have a Sonia with us today. She is currently having the time of her life, sailing around the South Pacific on some well-earned rest and relaxation time. So we wish her well. We wish we were there, but it's good to be here too. So here we are on our call. So today's topic is sharing best practices. And we've got quite a lot of things going on today. So here is our agenda for today's session. We'll have some breakout groups in a minute, so you can have all the social chats and say hello, maybe meet some new people. A few updates for you from Raspberry Pi Foundation. Then we are joined by Barney Harker, and we'll talk about safeguarding together. There's some more breakout groups. So we ran an activity on the meetup in Sri Lanka and felt that it went really well. We got some positive discussions out of it. We're going to try a recreation of that on today's session. And then, as usual, any takeaways, any questions. And if you had questions as we're going through, please don't sit on them. Please do put them in the chat, put a hand up, speak out. Very happy to take them. Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you got to speak to some new people, speak to some people you already know, catch up. And now we're back into the swing of things here. So we are back on our agenda and we're moving on to our updates now. We have some more progress maps out. These gorgeous resources have been designed in-house, and you may have seen our intro progress maps that match all the intro pathways by popular demand. Hey, Bruce, literally, that's amazing. On demand, Bruce has already got one there. So as you can see, you can print these out. If young people are going through these pathways, they can keep a physical track of where they are on the pathway, colour them in, add stickers, however they want to. And we've got them in colour, but we've got them in black and white as well, because, you know, colour printing can be expensive, can be difficult. So black and white gives you another option too. So you can find those on the resources page on the Co-Club website. And a reminder here that the Astro Pi challenge is open. So the Astro Pi challenge is a chance for young people to send their code into space. It will literally run on the International Space Station, which is so cool. So there's two routes you can take. You do Mission 0, which is the more entry beginner level. You code an image, and that image gets sent and is shown on the Astro Pi and the device on the International Space Station, and young people get a certificate. And then the more complex one is Mission Space Lab, where a group of young people create a more complex experiment to be run. So it's for slightly older years, I would say, that one. But they're both open now. You can see the dates there. So Mission 0 closes March. Mission Space Lab is a little bit earlier in February. And the only downside, really, is that it's only ESA, it's only member states that can apply if you're in a member country. If you're not sure, you can take a look on their website. It's mostly European countries with some other additions in there. So if you're not sure, you can take a look. And if you're super keen on doing it, but you can't, there's always room to team up with a partner who's in one of those member countries, and perhaps that's a way you can still apply. And a bigger partner network update from us here. So at present, we've been working with our 3 groups of partners, our growth partners, our national partners, and strategic partners. And we've had a bit of a reshuffle. So going forward, our strategic group of partners are joining the national group of partners to form a bigger group there. The main reason being to bring it in line with what we are doing across the foundation with other partners and other products. The label strategic is kind of, we see it's bigger than Co-Club, and we can work strategically with all our partners, and we'd love to do more of that. So we see this label is fitting, it fits better on bigger scale, you know, bigger than Code Club. So that strategic label is kind of been dissolved. We've got now a bigger group of national partners. It doesn't change anything. It really is just in the name. And we are now introducing a new label, a new group of partners called the Incubator Partners. So these will be brand new partners that join from now on. They join as an incubator partner. So that will mean they join on a 12-month training period. We offer training, we offer support to really focus on club growth in that first year. It's such a pivotal year for new partners. And then after that 12 months has elapsed, if partners have ambition to grow further, we can talk about becoming and applying for a growth partner. Or if partners think they've reached what they wanted to achieve, they're happy with their number of co-clubs, they don't think it's going to get anywhere any bigger, we say thank you, and we, you know, keep in touch, but off they go into the world and they keep those co-clubs going. It doesn't mean any changes for our existing group of partners here. It is just for brand new partners will enter into this incubator phase. And a reminder here, we have our drop-in sessions every month. They're on the first Thursday, 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. UK time, to hopefully match up with different time zones of all our partners. And feel free to drop in if you have a question, if you just want to chat, if you have a story to share. It's the same link for each, no agenda, very open. It will either be me or Sonia usually on those calls, just sat waiting. If anyone turns up, we love to have a little chat together. And this seems really early, but hey, some people are very organised and have been asking me about projects for Christmas time. So I spoke to the Co-Club team and got their recommendations on popular projects to do with your clubs around Christmas. So I've linked them here. And there's some really cute ones that you can do. So yes, you can go have an explore. You can either just make a note of those and search for them on the project site, or Ruhi's sharing the links there as well. And a reminder, Kay from Co-Club Australia isn't on our call with us today because I think it's the middle of the night for her, but I'm doing a plug on her behalf. So Moonhack opens next week. All the projects are out already, so all kind of spacey themed projects are there for people to go and explore and do with their clubs. And then from the 14th of October, clubs can submit their projects on the website. So do go have a look at the Moonhack website, or Kay spoke about Moonhack on our on our last call, so you can go back and watch that recording on the Partner Asset Hub as well, if you'd like to hear it straight from her. She speaks about it much more, much better than I can. It's her passion project. She runs it so well. And at this point, I will introduce you here to Barney Harker, we've got on our call today. So we work with a company called Pharos, who Barney works with as well. Yeah. Helping, well, we kind of partner with Pharos to make sure that we are doing all we can to make safeguarding a top priority at the foundation, and we are figuring out ways we can continually improve that. So Barney is here today to talk a bit more about that and to set up a survey with some questions for everyone as well. Barney, shall I pass to you to say?
Thank you very much, Ellie. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Barney Harker. I work for Pharos Response. So we provide risk and reputation management for Raspberry Pi and other organizations in the kind of international development, educational sector, working with children and young people. So very happy to be with you all today. So I'm currently working with Raspberry Pi Foundation, delivering a safeguarding kind of review, a safeguarding audit, looking at the way that we keep children safe, essentially, across all of our interactions with them. So we talk a lot about safeguarding in the UK. Elsewhere, potentially talk about student safety, child protection. but in the UK, child protection really we think of as a specific reaction to a child who is suffering or at risk of significant harm, whereas we think about safeguarding as the kind of broader protective responsibility of the organization that we all share as volunteer and staff and responsible citizens, to make sure that all kind of operations, people that we work with and programs that we deliver do no harm to the children that we work with, and we make sure that we create safe environments. So the reason that I'm here is that in doing this safeguarding review, and I'm based in Wales in the UK, so I've been to see some local delivery in Cardiff last week. Over the border in England, I've been to see a little bit of local community delivery in libraries here, and I'm going to see some delivery of a code club in a school at the end of this week. So I get to see what we're doing here. I've spoken to some of the staff team across Raspberry Pi who've got safeguarding responsibilities about how they think delivery is, the strengths, the weaknesses, potential gaps. But we realized we didn't have a kind of international perspective. So aside from speaking to some international staff with safeguarding responsibilities, which I have done, we want to speak to some volunteers, of which I've got some interviews lined up, but we also wanted to engage with the partners as well. Now, there's a staff survey that is going out to all Raspberry Pi staff, which Ellie and Ruhi will be completing next week, but we wanted to give one to you as well. Now, it will take about 5 or 7 minutes, potentially 10 if you need to do some translation, and it's on the link that will be being shared now. Thank you, Ruhi. So we want to understand how safeguarding and child protection is applied and supported across the partner network, ready to look at what more Raspberry Pi Foundation can do to provide support or clarity or share resources. We know there's some great Code Club resources on the website now. Key points of this: the survey is completely confidential. It is for learning and improvement purposes only, so please do be honest with it, and it will directly help us strengthen safeguarding practice. Ellie.
Thank you, Barney. So yes, Ruhi has shared a link in the chat. So if you visit the chat, click on the link, it will take you to a survey. It's a series of mostly sort of short yes or no, somewhat in between the options. But we're going to give you some time to complete it on this call. It's really important to us, and we want to make sure we capture partners' opinions and voices and experiences. So it might not be the most what you're expecting, what the most engaging part of this. No offense, Barney, I didn't mean it like that, but we're going to.
I'll take that.
We're going to give you just some quiet time to sit and go through that form, just so that we can make sure we give you time and we collect those responses. You know, people are busy, so yeah, feel free to keep your camera on or off. I'll give you 10 minutes on the clock. I'll let you know when there's a halfway point, and let you go through the survey. Feel free to come off mute if you do have questions as you go, or to put them in the chat. But I'll be back here reminding you in about 5 minutes or so. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
We're about halfway through our time, everyone. So you've got about 4.5 more minutes if you need it. Hello, everyone. That is our time on the survey. If you need to carry on and finish off a little bit in the background, obviously, please do. Thank you all for doing that. Barney, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, thank you for your time. Essentially, thank you for the time within this, and thank you for engaging with that. I know not everyone loves surveys, and it's always a pain collecting info. But I thought a trade-off might be that I can stick about and do a bit of a Q&A in the rest of the time of this session. So if you have any questions around safeguarding or child protection, then I'm happy to have a conversation about it if you'd like to.
Hi, Barney. I'll jump in. I'm always the first to talk.
Thanks, Bruce.
I was going through the survey and, safeguarding, because of all the times we onboard somebody, we kind of help them down with the module. And I suggested this as well, because I do see it in 3 sections, and it's kind of obvious from the survey, where if you're doing online things, there are different rule sets, how you engage digitally. Also assessment, because I'm focused more on the physical. So all the programs and partners we have, the assessment aspect, and then the pipeline, I guess. And as a growth partner, somebody that has different regions and different ecosystems.
Yeah.
For example, here on Aruba, we have different organizations for that. That makes sense, right? So from a library perspective, it's their job to take care of people. So they have their own policies and how they do things. And there's obviously a organization that does, it's called child protection. Here in Aruba, it's Código de Protección. But it's never escalated to that, because we do keep a sharp eye on what's going on in the assessment phase.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of shooting what's happening over here in the Caribbean region. But I also think that a growth partner should position also as helping out with the pipeline. So communicating that more officially and saying, here, this is how we do things. If it was, for example, just a school having an issue regarding safeguarding, so I think we might be interesting to talk to growth partners regarding the whistleblowing would be what I would bring to the table.
As in yourselves setting standards there and providing some guidance for other smaller organizations.
Making sure that the Raspberry Pi Foundation has sort of a vision on what's happening, how do they do it in Barbados?
Yeah.
What is the official organization? If it ever, of course, the whole point is prevention, but if it ever comes to a point where there is an extreme case that escalated all the way to the highest organization, that the RPF has an eye on that, and maybe we can, and that also, that makes us also very helpful as growth partners, I think.
Yeah,
Since
absolutely.
we're already talking about incubating and stuff,
Yeah, I think that's absolutely a great point. The ears and the eyes on the ground are never going to be Raspberry Pi. You kind of sat back here, which is why it's so important having partners who've got a good understanding and knowledge of child protection and safeguarding and working with young people in an appropriate way. And yeah, sharing that expertise is relied upon, really, because if there are poor partners that aren't, or poor volunteers who haven't been vetted properly, that's where the risk is, right? That everything is happening in the name of Code Club or Raspberry Pi or whatever, and actually it's an opportunity for someone to use that with bad intentions.
Exactly. So thank you for listening, and I hope to see what's happening next. Okay, so
Good man.
I'll tune out.
Thank you very much, Bruce.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Bruce. Are there any other questions for Barney while we have him here? It might be that a question comes to you later. I know that happens to me a lot after calls. So if that does happen and you want to reach out, just feel free to reach out to me. And Barney, I hope it's okay if we
of course,
let that on. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for that. And Barney, thank you for coming and talking with us and taking on partners' perspectives. I know we all really appreciate that. And you feel free to stay with us to the end, or if you need to head off, also do what you prefer.
Great, thank you very much, Ellie.
Thanks, Barney.
Cheers.
Okay, we'll move on now to the last part of our call here today. We're talking about best practice. We've spoken about best practice with safeguarding, but obviously there's lots of other best practices that we talk about in Code Club. And this activity was something that we ran when we held the meetup in Sri Lanka with partners there, and we felt it went really well. We had really productive discussions, and it generated a lot of thought and a lot of further conversations of this activity. So we thought it might be a nice idea to recreate this activity online today with partners here. So the idea is, in a moment, we will break off into 4 breakout rooms, potentially 3 breakout rooms, Ruhi, just for numbers. And whichever breakout room you land in, that is the number of the topic you are going to discuss today. So Ruhi, if you can share in the chat the additional topic slideshow. Do you have that?
Yeah, I can.
Fabulous. So you'll see in the chat in a moment, if you open that now, because you'll lose that link when you drop off into a breakout room, that will show you different topics with a couple of prompt questions around different aspects of Code Club. So club sustainability, club scalability, volunteer retention and recruitment as well. So whichever breakout room you land in, the number, that is your number topic. And it's just a chance to chat about those questions, chat about how you approach those ideas, what you're currently doing, what you wish you could do, what you want to do next, and just let the chat flow about those topics. Feel free to take notes. I hope I've edited that. Yes, I can see people in there. Great. So feel free to write on the slides if you need to take notes. But it would be great if someone does take notes or agrees to feed back what you talk about, so we can hear what's been going on in breakout rooms. That would be fabulous. And we'll have another 10 minutes to just chat. If you get to the end of your topic, feel free to go and look at the other topics as well. I'm not keeping strict rules here, but if you cover the first topic that you're given, that would be great. I hope that those prompt questions and those discussion topics generated a few good chats. Once you start getting into those topics, you realize there's a lot to talk about, and it's something that all of you are doing every day, thinking about how best to run your Code Club network, keep it running, bring in new, fresh volunteers and keep them there. It's all part of this bigger ecosystem of how we all are running Code Clubs. Has anyone, sorry, while I am, has anyone got anything they really want to share, or did a difficult conversation crop up that you didn't have answers to? Perhaps that's also interesting to talk about. People who were in breakout room 1, that was around volunteer recruitment. So how you find volunteers, what's a good method, untapped sources of volunteers in your region. Has anyone got anything they'd like to share from that room?
Yeah, actually, I can share some maybe things, and we will together create some Bruce. And yeah, actually, we share our works, not just this question, because I think this kind of networks actually connected us, and it's a big chance to share our studies and our works, maybe best practices, because we learn each other. So actually, our room is like meeting room, like we meet together and we share our works. Yeah, this is from my side. Maybe Chris can continue. Thank you.
Yeah, I think yes. What we discussed was more about the common issue we got was access to tools. As Bruce has experience, so we kind of discuss how can we do more, how can we involve local companies, and especially in the country like Burundi, where I am, we want really to focus on training teachers as the way to grow our clubs. We found out that the same issue, but we agreed that we are going to keep a discussion and we can work together to find out how can we solve that issue. So it was more like an opportunity to connect and to plan future collaboration.
Amazing. Thank you, Chris, and every day. I'm glad you could meet and talk. You know, you're in different places, but doing lots of really similar things. And Chris, I'm glad you got to share. I know you've got great plans coming up.
Yes. I got the opportunity to share about it because the idea, as I was saying, Burundi or some countries where Africa, it's difficult to get volunteers to work. So the idea is how to focus on training teachers. So the idea is we want to train 100 teachers from 50 schools, and we're trying to launch by January 50 clubs, and they keep on mentoring up to June, and as well as to launch the first Raspberry national competition in Burundi. That's what the plan we have, and we are working on it. Amazing!
I'm so excited to see all that start happening, and it's really exciting. It's really great to see. Thank you both. Did anyone in breakout room 2, so that was volunteer retention, how do we keep hold of those amazing people who are giving up their time to run code clubs? Did anyone have good chats in that room they can share?
We did. I feel like I talked a lot, and and I feel like the conversation could just keep going and going and going. And so I was talking to Ilana, and she was kind of sharing how they're working a lot with parents, and how that is amazing for the time that their kids are engaged. So you can usually have a few years where you're able to have them engaged, and then they tend to move on to other things. And I know, out here, if I'm using, university students, like the expectation is they're going to be there for one semester because they're just going to have other things happening. So I have found in Canada some success with people who are retired. They absolutely, love to kind of stay engaged with young people because it keeps them young. So that is really exciting when I have volunteers like that. The most successful clubs that I have seen are when you actually have like a librarian who's just absolutely passionate about what they're doing. And although, technically they're paid by their library, I still consider them to be, as long as like the activities are new and fresh and you have reliable volunteers who are able to come to support for the sessions that they want to run, I find that will usually keep clubs going for quite a while. And I was talking a bit about, what I'm going to try next out here. And one thing I'm looking to do is have volunteer ambassadors in different provinces to help kind of support more locally and to do like meetups there to really get that kind of on the ground community support. So that's something I'm looking at trying in the next couple months.
Amazing.
Ilana, do you want to add a little bit more?
I think that it was quite interesting talking with Lane, how she approaches the volunteers and how they're different among all the code clubs. We were talking that I also have some students from engineering that are doing the social service in our code clubs, and that's like kind of easy because engineer students learn very fast how to teach and how to explain, etc. But it's getting harder in the pilot that we're running with teachers from public schools that are not from technical backgrounds and with parents. So we are testing how make it work. What we have observed so far is that the easy workshops like Scratch can be learned by the adults. They are scared of learning them, but they can learn and they can teach. We will see how to move to more complex topics, but so far with Scratch, everything seems to work fine. So we would love to hear if someone else is doing something like that with people that is not from technical backgrounds, and how do they move to more difficult topics like Python or web design.
Yeah, thank you, Ileana. I do know that every so often the Code Club UK team run some trainings on moving from Scratch to Python, and about how you can sort of build on find the similarities between the block base and the text base and help that. So yeah, look out for those, because I know they run them every so often. But that's really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then Ruhi, am I right in thinking, did we have people in breakout room 3 and 4, or we were a small but select group? Did anyone have? Thanks, thank you, Ruhi. Did anyone go and have a look at breakout room 3 or 4 and have additional things to say? I don't want to stop anyone from sharing thoughts if they do have any. It's no problem if not. We didn't give you that time. But if you know, feel free to keep a hold of the link to that that breakout room slide if you want to go back and add thoughts or take notes or run it with your own volunteers and have those discussions amongst your own organizations as well. Please do. Okay, thank you everyone. I hope good discussions were had and contacts were being made. Before we sign off from this call, are there any other final thoughts, final points people wish to make? I always want to give people that time just in case. Thank you, Ruhi. So again, thank you for filling out the form. Ruhi's just shared it again in the chat. We will be sharing that with the wider partner network as well. So if you have colleagues who weren't on the call today, but you can pass that to, that would be much appreciated. We'd like to get as many forms filled in as we can, so we get a really clear picture of what we might need to do more of or change in the future to make our safeguarding the best that it can be. And thank you for joining today. Another very, very short form. Keep making you fill out forms today, but if you can do that one as well, it really helps us know what works, what doesn't, what you want to hear more of for next time, so we can keep making these calls as efficient and useful as we can. So thank you so much everyone. Have a great rest of your day, your evening, and we'll see you again very soon.
Okay, thank you very much. See you.
Thanks. See you.